masters of dreams. I didn't realize at first that it was a dream. Everything seemed eerily real. The sounds of whispering cutting through the silence, the darkness enveloping me like a shroud, and the feeling of someone's intense gaze. That gaze was everywhere, piercing into the depths of my consciousness, dragging out my most hidden fears. I was surrounded by an endless hall whose walls seemed to pulse as if they were breathing. The floor beneath my feet was smooth but strangely warm, like the skin of a living creature. I tried to make out the details, but the darkness teased me, making me doubt my own vision. And in the middle of the hall stood something. It wasn't just at the center, it was the center. The axis of everything I could perceive. Its form slipped away from understanding, shifting, as though the very nature of this being defied the laws of reality. Its eyes, two bottomless black lakes, swallowed time itself. From them oozed darkness, thick and suffocating like smoke, poisoning the air. "You're merely asleep," a voice, deep as distant thunder, broke straight into my thoughts. It carried everything at once, menace, mockery, and an infinite, icy void. "Your life is but a flicker of light I glimpse while I slumber." I tried to scream, but my voice drowned in silence. There was no pain, no words, only the feeling that I had become a tiny fragment of something boundless. The being continued to stare, and its gaze cut into me like a scalpel, exposing what I had tried to hide even from myself. "We have always been here," the voice continued. Its tone seeped into the deepest recesses of my soul, stretching time. "You are part of us, a tiny grain in the endless ocean of our thoughts. We created your lives to entertain ourselves while we sleep." I tried to turn away, to run, to wake up, but every movement felt futile. I was a prisoner of that gaze, of this terrifying truth. "When we awaken, your world will cease to exist." These words echoed in my mind like a bell tolling the hour of death. I opened my eyes, and for a moment I couldn't understand where I was. My skin was clammy with cold sweat, and my heart was pounding wildly. I was sitting in my room, surrounded by books and familiar trinkets, but nothing felt familiar. The dream hadn't let me go. The sensation of someone's gaze, of someone's presence, was so strong that I kept glancing around, expecting to see the creature in every corner. But the apartment was empty. I tried to convince myself it was just a nightmare, but how could I explain the headache, as if my mind had been torn apart from the inside? Why did that voice still ring in my ears? The entire day passed in a fog. Food tasted bland, sounds around me were too loud, and people's faces seemed unreal. The more I thought about the dream, the stronger the feeling grew that it wasn't a dream. Something had awakened in me. At first, I tried to ignore it. But every night I returned to that hall. The creature was waiting for me. It no longer spoke. Its gaze told me more than words ever could. Each time, it revealed a new fragment of its consciousness, showing me things I couldn't comprehend. I saw cities crumble, immense shadows engulfing worlds, people screaming as they disappeared into the void. I saw reality itself splinter into fragments, like fragile glass devoured by an all-consuming darkness. And then the creature began to touch me. At first it was a fleeting brush against my thoughts, but soon I felt its shadows seeping into my body. They left behind a chill so intense that I couldn't breathe. It felt as though every cell in my body was turning to icy ash. Now, I see them everywhere. In shadows that move when they shouldn't. In the faces of people who suddenly freeze as if listening to something invisible. My own thoughts have become traitors. They no longer belong to me. Sometimes I catch myself thinking words that aren't mine, hearing whispers in a language I don't know but somehow understand. These whispers haunt me, even in the waking world. I tried to tell someone, but the people I knew started to change. Their eyes became unfamiliar, their movements unnatural. They smiled, but it was a smile that chilled me to the bone. It was as if the creature had already taken root in them, watching through their eyes. The most terrifying part is that I begin to notice the creature awakening not just within me. The world around me has changed too. The sunlight has dimmed. The air has grown heavy, as if soaked in decay. Everything feels on the verge of collapse. Now I know the truth. Everything we thought was real is a lie. We are dreams they see. Our lives are nothing but part of their entertainment. They sleep for billions of years, and our universe is merely their fleeting vision. But the time of their awakening is drawing near, and when it happens, nothing will remain. Not our history, not our homes, not even us. We will vanish, like a dream disappears when you open your eyes. I no longer try to resist. Everything I knew, everything I loved, it doesn't matter anymore. I have become merely a vessel for their presence. I hear them in my breath. I see them even when I close my eyes. You who are reading this, you think you're safe? That you can escape? No. They are already here. They have always been here. Look around. Listen. Don't you feel them watching you? Don't you hear their whispers? I am writing this for you, though I know it is meaningless. You are already part of them, just like me, just like everything around us. This letter is merely another whisper they have allowed me to leave behind. When they awaken, it will be too late. The shadows are already consuming this world, and when you see them, you will understand that you were never truly real. They are here. They have always been here.